It's probably hard to be thinking right now about your short-termer leaving the field, but I assure you it will happen. For every one of our short-termers, leaving the field will mark a new chapter in their lives. If their time on the field has gone even remotely like it should, they will have struggled, they will have developed friendships, they will have had a positive impact on your life and your work. It's important to honor all of these developments and help each short-termer as they begin their next journey. In this video, we'll look at some of the logistical considerations to help your short-termer as they end their time on the field. In the next video, we'll discuss how to help your short-termer work through their thoughts and feelings as they leave. If you've been living and working cross-culturally for any amount of time, then you're familiar with the painful reality of goodbye. But hopefully you've come to an understanding of how important it is to bring closure to relationships before moving on. In many of the cultures where we work, goodbye is a critical relational element. While it's important to help your short-termer get the relational closure that they will need in order to move on to the next chapter of their life in a healthy way, you also want to make sure that there's no lasting relational damage in your location that would result from someone leaving without saying a proper goodbye. Often, taking the time to say goodbye to local friends is a valuable way of affirming people that can actually help to strengthen the friendship and the credibility of the people who are remaining on site. It would be very helpful for you to spend some time in your final few mentoring meetings to help your short-termer think about who they will need to say goodbye to and to plan out how those goodbyes will happen. Some people will need to know well in advance when the short-termer is leaving so that they're not taken by surprise when they go. We all know that conflict happens. It's just a part of life. As your short-termer is finishing up their time, talk with them to see if there's any unresolved conflict with anyone that they've interacted with. Do they need to ask for forgiveness? Or do they need to offer forgiveness to someone? While the wounds of conflict may still be fresh, once the short-termer departs, the opportunity for healing leaves with them. Such wounds can fester over time and cause pain for both parties for years to come. It's important to do everything possible to bring at least the small portion of healing while the opportunity still exists. While a short-termer is serving with you, finances can be complicated. They may not have immediate access to finances sometimes, or maybe they've forgotten to pay for something, or they planned on taking care of it later. Before your short-termer leaves, it's important to make sure that they aren't leaving behind any outstanding debts in the community or with you. It can be extremely difficult to address financial obligations once a short-termer has returned to their home country or moved on to their next chapter. While it may be awkward to address finances, it needs to be done before the short-termer leaves. It's not uncommon for a short-termer to leave behind some of their belongings when they go. They may have special items that they want to leave with local friends or help certain people out. As a field facilitator, you want to discuss these things with your short-termer. In the frenzy of packing and saying goodbye, a short-termer's actions can adversely affect you and other short-termers that will follow. If your short-termer gives away a ton of stuff and lavishes gifts on friends and locals at the end of their time, members of the local community may come to expect such generosity from you and other future short-termers. Giving can also create relational problems within the community if the short-termer gives in a way that disrupts the social order of the community, leaving you to pick up the pieces. Make sure to coach your short-termer on how to handle gift giving and the distribution of personal items when they leave. I've watched a lot of short-termers transition off the field. Usually there's mixed emotions. They're excited to return to the people and places that they've missed, but they're often sad to say goodbye to the new friends and the places that they've come to enjoy so much. Often there's some sort of spiritual or physical incident that happens as the short-termer brings their time on the field to a conclusion. This is a very cunning tactic of our enemy, as such an incident can be a powerful memory that will distort the short-termer's perception of their whole time on the field. They'll look back on their experience through the lens of this negative incident. This is a phenomenon known as the peak end rule. If your short-termer does experience a particularly negative event or struggle at the end of their time. Help them to reflect on the joys and successes, affirm the work that they have done, and remind them that God is not done and that He will bring fruit from their work that will go far beyond whatever bad thing it is that they're wrestling with. Leaving seems like an easy thing to do, and it is, but leaving well is actually very difficult. We want to help our short-termers to leave well. And in the next video, we'll discuss how to do that.